If you clicked on this video, I know why you're here. In this video, I'm gonna cover all the necessary topics that you must know as an intermediate or someone who just started off sharpening their own knife. Starting from getting to know a whetstone, how to use it, how to take care of it, 2 different techniques you can use to sharpen your knife. I'm also going to show you my personal knife that I use in my kitchen and the mistake I have done in my past which you must avoid to make your stone and knife last longer. So without wasting any time, let's get on to the topic. First thing first, whetstone. It's not wet, it's wet. W-E-T, whetstone. Whetstone is a stone that is used to sharpen the knives. If your whetstone looks like this, it's time to get a new whetstone. So let's go and get a whetstone together.
Stay away from that old viper man. Don't you take that fruit he's holding in his hand. Just one bite.
This right here is a good place for kitchen items. Let's go.
That old viper man. If you should come across a viper in the night, that's when you.
So, I've got in at the moment, I've got double-sided, like 1000, 6000, so everything you need in one at 48.
That's what I'm looking for.
These are amazing for a double-sided stone. They're good for most Japanese knives. The big difference is when we get stainless steel and even Japanese knives, these will just cut it quicker, is way quicker.
Okay.
Way quicker.
Alright, I'm gonna take this.
Yep.
And this one.
Cool, it's good on you.
The hit that makes you feel alright. You'll be high and trouble's out of sight. So don't you hang around that viper in the night.
Just finished the shopping. I got my stuff. Tom, very nice guy. I recommend everybody who want to purchase anything related to kitchen, you can come here. Best place. Ale, I've got my whetstones here. Let's quickly unbox it. I've got 3 stones over here. This one is the one that I owned 3 years ago. I bought it from Amazon. Big mistake that I did that you should. And this one 1000 grits and this one is 6000 grits. So what grits is actually, it's a unit for the coarseness of the stone. So this one is 1000 grits. That comes in the medium category. If your knife is not very blunt, so you only need a medium grit. And this one has 2 sides. One is 2000 grit and one is 600 grit. So this one is particularly for knife that is very blunt. So the difference is, coarser your stone is, the more metal it's gonna scrape off while you're sliding your knife through it. So since it's 1000 grits, the amount of metal that is gonna scrape off from your knife is going to be very less as compared to this one. So that is why I said if your knife is really blunt, you have to use less grit stone. However, if consistent with your sharpening, you can always go ahead with 1000 grit stone. The 6000 grit stone is much smoother and silkier, just like me. This one comes in the last process where you have already used the 1000 grit stone, where you already have a sharp edge, and then this one helps to smooth it. Let me make it more easy for you to understand. So when you look into a knife edge through a microscopic view, it is like this, okay? So imagine it as the edge of the knife that you're using. So when you keep using it for a very long time, the edges tend to burr up like this. Burr, it's not the burr that you're thinking about, it's burr. When your edge of the knife is like this, when you cut something with that knife, it is actually sawing through, not slicing anymore. So that is why it will kind of saw it and it will leave the water, and the cuts that you're doing won't be perfect. That is why you need an edge like this, where there's very less surface area in the point of the knife, where it can slice through smoothly and it will look beautiful and sexy like me. So before you begin your sharpening process, if your knife is blunt, that means your knife tip is like this. From a microscopic view, it's like this. When you use your 1000 grit stone, it becomes like this, and then you use your 6000 grit stone to make it like this. So when your knife edge is like this, it's perfect. I hope that's clear. So before you start using your stones, you have to soak your stones in the water for at least 15 minutes. Soaking of the stones depends definitely on the manufacturer. You have to read the user's guidelines or manufacturer guideline to know how long you have to soak your stones. We soak these stones in water to lubricate them basically, so that when it's wet, when it's absorbed with water, when you slide your knife through it, less amount of stone fades away. If it's not wet, if it's not lubricated properly, more stone is gonna wear off from from your sharpening stone. So it is extremely important to lubricate it properly. That is why for the coarser stone, people tend to use oil, more smoother. All depends on what the manufacturer wants you to do. After you use the stone, it is extremely important to wipe it, dry it properly and store it. Also, if you don't use your stone properly, this is what happens over time. It tends to wear off from different points and then you don't get an even sharp knife. So it is very important to use an extra stone like this that usually comes with the stone if you're buying from a genuine company. If not, you can always get it from Amazon. You can use this stone on top of the other stone like this. You remove the plastic and then you rub it like this. After every usage, it is extremely important to have rubbed with the stone to make it last longer. If you're curious on how much I paid for these stones, I paid 50 pounds for 1000 grit stone, 90 pounds 6000 grit stone, and I paid around 30 pounds for this stone from Amazon. It was a big mistake that I made actually, which you should never make. Always try to invest your money on a very good and genuine stone which will last you longer, and it will take much less time than this stone to get your knife sharpened properly. So to check if your knife is really sharp or no, there's something called paper test, as you might be knowing already. If the blade, as I told you, is like this, since there's no surface area, it should slice through properly. So let me try it for you. It doesn't tear through, you see? You see, it is not a proper slice that it's doing. So now we have to start with the Now let's start with the main topic of how to sharpen a knife. It's almost been 20 minutes since I soaked my stone. Since I'm using a glass table, I don't want to ruin it. That's why I'm using a chopping board. You don't have to use a chopping board. You can use a cloth underneath. I have a stand here and it's pretty stable. So I think I can work around it. Pretty nicely soaked. The moment when you stop seeing bubbles coming up from the stone, that's a sign that it's well lubricated. So you don't have to keep it for longer. All right, I've got everything set up for the knife sharpening process at the moment. My chef knife. I've got some water over here so that I can just splash some water on top of the stone. I'm going to splash some water on top of it just to make it a bit smoother, and the goal is to achieve a 15 to 20 degree angles while you're moving your blade up and down. All right, it is extremely important to keep that angle even the whole time you're sharpening your knife. So I'm going to start from this side. 20 degree angle would be around this much gap. So that is like keeping a two coin, one on top of each other. That is the angle that we need. So I'm gonna, let's say this is the 20 degree angle. So we slide the knife to the top like that. Did you see that? So that's what we want. You go on top like that. Keep that angle same at all time. If you keep changing the angle, if you go up and down, then you will take forever to get that sharp point. So it is very important to keep that angle. So if you're trying to give 20 like this, you have to give 20 stroke like this as well. So this, once you're going like this, you have to switch your side. You have to feel for a burr. The blade will move to one side. So if you're using this side, you'll feel the burr on this side. So if you feel the burr on this side, you can go with the other side. So I'm still gonna go with the one side. During my college, what I learned was to go up and down. So like this, come back, go, come back, go, come back. This is also a technique you can use. You don't have to give pressure on your hand or the handle. The pressure that you give is on the blade. The finger that you're keeping on the blade, that's where you give the pressure. This is just this grip is just to hold the blade to the angle. This one is to give the pressure. I think I can feel the burr at one side now. One side is pretty much done, so I can go with the other side as well now. So for the other side, you can do in two different ways. One is you did like this, all right, and then you can switch your hand and go like this, right? Or once you have done this, you can come back like this. There's nothing wrong in doing both sides, whatever works for you. So what you must notice is I'm only giving pressure while it's going away from me. I'm not giving much pressure while it's coming back. So So if you're doing this process, you have to keep in mind that you only have to give pressure while it's going from you, away from you, not when it's coming towards you. So it's been almost 10-15 minutes I've been stroking on this, both sides, and I think it's pretty much good. Yeah, I'm gonna start with the next one. One very common question which I had when I started off was actually when to stop and how much pressure you should give while you're giving stroke to the knife. It is very easy to know when to stop. So when you start from one side, you have to start feeling the burr on the other side. So every you give 10 stroke, you have to check the other side. So from your tip to the bottom of the blade have their burr on one side, that's when you know you have to flip, and then you do with the other side. I hope that makes sense, because you keep giving strokes like this, so that means you're basically shaving off the steel from one side. So that means it's gonna be, then you have to shift your side to make it like this. So that's when it's gonna be even and sharp from the middle. Also, on how much pressure you have to give on the knife, you shouldn't feel like you're giving too much stress on the knife, you're trying to press it. It's all about the angle. If you keep the angle same and give a very nice pressure here, which is like, even if you keep 2 fingers right over here and then you slide it like this, that's gonna work. You don't have to be very heavy on the knife and give so much pressure on the blade. Rest everything is on the angle and how many strokes you give. Also, there's one more technique. It's like dividing your knife into 2 different parts like this and giving them the exact angle. So you divide these parts like this and then you give strokes like this, 15 strokes, and then you shift to this point and then you do like this, 15 strokes, and then you change the side and do the same again. It's all do and try methods. You have to keep doing, keep trying. That's when you learn. So since we are done with the first part, which is using the 1000 grit stone, now it's time to use 6000 grit stone, which is more smoother, sharpened already. Now this part doesn't take too long, because you just need to stroke your knife just to bring that edges, which is like this, go like that. 10 or 15 strokes each side should be good, and it's the exact same angle that you used for sharpening the stone and exact pressure that you give. That from tip to the bottom, it has a very nice sharpness to it. So now, since we are all done with the knife sharpening process, let's check whether all our hard work was worth it or no. I hope that video was informative. If you have any questions regarding whatever I did today or whatever I talked about in this video, please drop down in the comments below. I'll try to respond to each and every one. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.